Hey friends, welcome to the Johnson City Living Podcast, where we learn about the people, places, events, and flavors that make Johnson City a lovely place to live. I'm your host, Colin Johnson with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Realty. It is a beautiful September day here in Johnson City. A little damp, but you know what? That's not going to get our spirits down because I am pumped up. One of my favorite things in the world is hitting a golf ball. And so when I get to be around people that are even remotely around golf, it really excites me. And this guy is not only remotely, he is like invested. It's all he lives and breathes, I think. But we're going to learn all about what he does love. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Jake Amos, head golf coach at ETSU. Woo!
Thanks.
Crowd's going wild in the background. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself a little bit. Tell the audience a little bit about Jake Amos. And am I saying your name correct?
Yep, that's fine. It's been said worse. I'm from England originally.
You didn't sound like you're from Elizabeth.
Yeah, I'm not. I do actually tell people I'm from Irwin when they ask where I'm from. But, no, I was born in England, born and raised there, and went to college in America. Went to Augusta State, 2006 to 10.
On a golf scholarship?
Yep.
So you actually played golf in the past?
Yeah, I played golf in the past. Yeah.
I'm
giving a real cliff notes.
It's good for a coach, golf coach. I'm going to dive in more. You're good. You're good. Augusta State.
I was at Augusta State, and then played professional for 3 years, and decided to get married, and didn't want to have that lifestyle when I got married. So I was like, what am I qualified to do? And literally, I was qualified for golf, and that was about it. I did interview at Enterprise Realty actually before I got into coaching, and then I got offered a job to coach at South Florida, and then kind of just my career kind of took off after that.
Nice.
Now I'm here.
Now you're here in Johnson City. Have you been in Johnson City?
I got the job in 2018.
Okay.
Fred Warren called me up and was like, "I'm retiring. I want somebody to come in." And Johnson City and ETSU is a unique situation because they've only ever had 2 coaches here in 70 years or whatever it is. So he's like, look, I want to have a year, you can be an assistant for a year and learn. I can introduce you to people, how it happens. And then in my first year as head coach was 1926.
Nice.
So, yeah, 4 years now, I think. Yeah, 4 years.
So you settled in for 40 years of coaching here?
I would not be opposed to it.
Okay.
I love the city.
Yeah, isn't it great?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the number one question. What do you love about Johnson City? That's the first thing we ask everybody on the podcast.
I mean, I got to go back. I was at University of South Carolina. I was the associate head coach there before I came here. And I just
some of my friends call that the armpit of the South.
Yeah, no, it's pretty
super hot.
Yeah, it's crazy hot.
You'll be at the beach and you drive to Columbia and it's hotter in Columbia than at the beach. You're like, how's this even work?
It was awful.
Yeah.
Well, it was the middle of summer, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to drive up. Fred was like, come up. So I drove, and the drive from Columbia to here is amazing. And I love the mountains, and I just remember calling my wife like, yeah, this is the place. I mean, because we just had a baby and all that. So, it was tricky back then because I was broke. Assistant coaches don't make a lot. So we rented in this little 800 square foot 2-bedroom apartment for a year and tried to find where we wanted to live. And but the main thing I love is the people obviously are brilliant. Golf's important here, so I always felt really appreciated everywhere I go. And but for a family, especially a young family, like my kids, I got 2 boys now. My wife's homeschooling them, and they go up to Buffalo Mountain for Barefoot University. They go on hikes. They got lakes. It's prime. Coming from Columbia in a big city, and then coming here, and there's no traffic.
You feel really safe.
Yeah, and the climate, for golf, you think, oh, you want cold weather or whatever, but it's nice. You have to take some time where you can just chill out and try something else. So I genuinely like everything about it. I think it's a hidden gem, and it's getting busier, and and bigger, and I'm kind of upset about it.
Me too. I'm a little bit. As we listen, and you guys are listening out there, our secret is out. You're hearing about us. We're on Fox News. We're like the number 3 place in the world
I didn't know that.
to buy a house now. Yeah, I moved to. Because of all the things you said.
Yeah.
Number one, and over and over, it's, everybody loves the people here. And then 2, it's like what you said, all the amenities and resources it has to offer. It's awesome. Yeah. So, okay. We'll get into some other questions here in a second, but so when did you start playing golf? Because I'm interested in golf.
Yeah. I mean, I was big into
golf.
football when I was younger,
which is soccer.
Yeah. Yep. My wife keeps telling me not to call it soccer because the kids. Anyway, that's another story.
Right. It's confusing.
Yeah.
Like, what are they playing on TV with the helmets? It's football.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it's not.
So I did that. And then my dad was big into golf. So was my mum. And when I was about 9 or 10, around that time, my dad was like, because when I started out, like now you can get little kids clubs. But back then, it was like there was nothing.
No, you had to cut them in half.
You had to cut them. Like I had ladies cut down clubs. I'd foam in my golf bag to stop them dropping down.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I started out and I was like, I was kind of into it. I was okay. And then we moved moved completely to a different area. And I didn't have any friends, obviously, moving house. And my dad just dropped me off at the golf course and said, go for it. And he would literally drop me off at 7 a.m. in the summer, pick me up at 7 p.m. And then I just got really good. I was there all day, played 54 holes a day, probably. I mean, I got kind of hooked. And then I went to high school. My dad would take me to the golf course at sunlight. I'd play 9 holes, go to school. Then I'd come back from school, play another 9 holes, finish the 18 off. And then, that's kind of was my life. I guess you'd call it during like middle school times.
You feel like you were self-taught a lot, or did you have lessons during that?
I was self-taught till I was about 12, 13. My dad was a pretty good golfer, but he just left me to it, which was awesome because, I had to figure it all out. But when I got better at golf, like to a level where, I started playing tournaments and I'd win a lot. And then I was like, I probably should try and take this to the next level. And then I got picked for the England team when I was like 13, I think. So the England boys team.
Okay.
So then I was like, okay, I must be pretty good. And I kind of just kicked on and started taking it more serious after got, in that situation.
What's in there, like a amateur event that's between countries or anything? Did you play in that deal?
Oh yeah, I mean, you have the Walker Cup.
Yep. That was the one I'm thinking about. Yeah. Did you get to play in that?
I didn't. I was not good enough for that. That's basically GB&I, Great Britain and Ireland versus USA.
Yeah. And
it's happening next year in St. Andrews, and one of my players is actually probably going to get in the GB&I team for that.
Cool. Well, I'll carry his
crossed,
bag or shoes or whatever. You just drag me along.
You come. Yeah. We're going to have a big
big
sure
entourage.
A lot of ETSU people will want to come to St. Andrews in September.
Sounds rough.
So that's kind of how I got started, and then it just kind of progressed from there, really.
Okay, then you were an amateur, really good English team.
Yeah.
And then when did you decide, hey, I think I'm going to give it a shot on the tour?
Well, I always thought once I started playing really competitively as a junior, I always thought I would play professional golf. Like really, actually, one thing that's a big different from international to Americans is like none of us think about college, really. Like it's not a thing. It gets to a point where you're like, okay, do you want to continue my education?
Mm-hmm.
But when I was 17, 18, I was barely going to school, high school. I was playing golf all the time. And I'm like, I'm going to make it. I'm going to be on tour. I'm going to make it. And one thing that happened to me is I went over to Utah to play just to see my sister was over in college over there. And I was like, I'm going to go play a tournament. I won it. And I went on a couple visits. I came back and I'm like, wow, I mean, the facilities and college and the girls, I'm like, this is amazing. And then I played golf with a friend of mine. He actually just won on the European Tour last week. His name's Oliver Wilson.
Ooh.
Yeah, great guy. And we played just for fun. And he asked me, so you're going to go to college? I said, well, no, but I've been getting all these emails from coaches, and I just hadn't responded. And he's like, you should do it. I went to Augusta, and it was the best time of my life. Met my wife there. He's like, I just think you should do it. Professional golf's hard, and doing it as an 18-year-old, you might struggle.
Even harder, right?
Yeah. And so I was like, all right. And literally that day, I called the Augusta State coach up. I said, hey, I want to come to Augusta. You still got a spot? And he said, yeah, come on. And that was like 3 months before school started. And I didn't visit. I just flew in and did it.
So your buddy went there. You were like, okay.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. Like my mom went to Memphis from England. She grew up in England, and her dad had been to Memphis, the only town they had ever been to. And he said, well, it's nothing like England. It's warm and sunny and warm. And so she said, okay, I'll go to college there.
Yeah.
And then she met my dad there. And oddly, because my dad had an aunt who worked in the U.S. Embassy in London, and my mom had an aunt who worked in the U.S. Embassy in London. And back then, they didn't have, hey, you should text him or whatever. It's like, you should write him a letter or whatever. Anyway, they wound up getting together out of nowhere.
That's
so
nice.
Yeah. So I think it's just interesting how people influence you. And so like you ruled out the other 1,000 colleges because your friend said, hey, you should go to Augusta State.
What's really funny is
you're probably getting like Purdue.
I have no idea.
Pepperdine was looking at you and all kinds of different places.
I have no idea. You could say, do you want to go to Georgia or do you want to go to Augusta? And I have no idea. You could,
Yeah.
And looking back at it, it's funny. I responded to the Virginia coach, who's actually still there. And he was raving about school and all this in his email. And I just responded, I don't even go to school. So
I need to go somewhere where there's no school, but lots of golf.
And it was funny.
And I get a degree.
Because I kind of, now I'm influencing kids in school, which is funny. But so like, I
feel hypocritical.
I mean, I was so bad in high school. I was academically ineligible. Okay. And it was the best thing that happened to me because so I couldn't play Division I golf.
Gotcha.
So at the last minute, they said, okay, you can play Division II. You can play 1 year and then transfer in. So I went to a small school in South Carolina called Lander, played there, loved it. And that's where I met my wife.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then she was on the soccer team. And then I transferred after a year to Augusta and we got really, really lucky. We had a great team, won 2 national championships. So,
nice.
Yeah, it was a couple of my teammates have gone on to do brilliant things. So yeah, it's been fun. And then that's kind of what I just fell in love with college golf after that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you fell in love with college golf after, but you went pro for a little while.
Yeah. So
Where did that fall into the?
So like, I graduated 2010 and, I was ready to try it. I had a pretty good college career and I was like, you know what, I might as well give this a go. And I went to Asia, went to Thailand, tried to qualify for the Asian tour, just missed out. Then I went back home to England, played there for a year, kind of on the mini tour stuff. I did okay, but I also at the time was like, I love America, I want to go back there. So I got what they call a P1 visa, which is basically an athlete's visa, which was kind of a hard process actually, but got it submitted, came back to Augusta. And I played in America for about a year, but I didn't really have any success. And I'm like, this is 3 years now. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. And I kind of knew I wanted to marry my wife. And I'm like, I don't want to make her work so I can go play golf and have to make a putt to pay rent.
Right.
I'm like, that's just, and I was it's a grind. Like mini tour, if you're not on top of any level, it's not easy, like mentally or anything. So I'm like, you know what? I was really done with it. I was fine. It was the hardest thing was telling my parents I was done with it because they want me to be successful.
Right.
And I did have some success, but nothing to justify keep going. Yeah. And and that's how I fell into coaching after that.
So then where was your first college coaching gig?
Like I said, I interviewed at Enterprise, and I was like, I got to find something. I'm getting married.
I can either
in a month.
rent cars out or
Yeah. And my old coach, Josh Gregory, he helped me a ton. Like, coaching is very much connection based. Like, because I didn't realize when I was getting into it how hard it is to get into coaching. I mean, if I put a coaching job up now for an assistant coach, I would have 100 people apply for one spot. I mean, it's a great lifestyle and everything. So he just made calls for me. Said one of my former players is trying to get into coaching. I'm sure he lied a little bit, said he's a great guy and all that. And
got a good personality.
Yeah. And a guy called Chris Malloy at South Florida, he calls me. He's like, I'm not paying anything. He's like, but I need an assistant. And so I went down to University of South Florida, and I got really lucky because the team was really good when I got there. He just wanted me to play with the guys because I was still a pretty good player then, and just keep them competitive. And he taught me so much. Like, he threw me in and said, do this, run this tournament, recruit. And I didn't know how to do anything.
Just figuring it out.
And he just said, figure it out, and if I struggled and I asked him, he'd be like, figure it out.
Yeah.
And it was the best thing ever. I mean, it was extremely stressful, but I stayed there a year. And he went to Ole Miss as the head coach. He got a new job. And I was going to go with him, very close to going with him. But another guy that I'd met, Rob Bradley, he called me up. He's like, hey, I've got an assistant job open at Purdue. And he just recruited me. And it turned out to be the greatest decision because I actually spoke to him right before I got on the podcast. He's one of my best friends still. He comes to, we keep in touch pretty much every day, but had 2 years with him at Purdue, which was an awesome experience. Big school, Midwest.
Yeah.
I still love Purdue now. And I'm a big fan of every one of their sports. But it turned out we got pregnant.
Did your wife have a hard time moving a bunch? I mean, it sounds like a coaching life.
Yeah. At first, she was like, it was fun for her. She'd never left really South Carolina. So she never got on a plane, actually.
She grew up in South Carolina?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Danny. Yeah.
Okay.
And she'd never flown, before. And then we dated for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
So she flew all over with me. But yeah, she kind of knew my life, like my lifestyle as a professional golfer. And then as a coach, she kind of knew it's never really settled. But we got pregnant, and we were about to buy a house in Purdue. Like I said, we loved it. And it was a crazy time. I got a phone call from South Carolina to be their assistant. I got a phone call from Georgia Tech to be their assistant. And I was closing on my house in like 2 days.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, I've really got to make a decision. And we kind of made a snap decision to go back to South Carolina because she's having a baby.
Yeah.
And, it was fine being in the SEC and everything, but we didn't really ever settle in there. And for whatever reason, and I was very ambitious. I wanted to be a head coach. And, that was a tough couple of years actually. But, we found out, in coaching, you can't pick where you live. Like, it's, you go where the work is. And when I came up here, I'm like, yeah, this is it. So, we've been really happy ever since. Yeah.
And Fred was here. Fred Warren, your predecessor,
Yeah.
what, 20?
30 something.
30 something years.
Hal Morrison was there 30 something years.
I got to know Fred a little bit, but not just regimented. Like, just seemed like. And did he have a golf background?
Yeah, he played at UCLA back in the day. He recruited me.
Yeah,
actually, when he came to Italy and watched me play when I was playing for England.
Nice.
Yeah, and he ended up taking a couple other people instead of me, better people actually. Probably he did a good thing. Seamus Power and all those guys.
I heard Rory was about to sign to come here.
No, he did sign. Yeah,
he did sign and then backed out at the last minute to go pro.
Turned pro. Yeah, good decision.
Turned out okay. Turned out okay for him.
Yeah, see, back when I was growing up in golf, a lot of my friends came here. It was a big GB&I place. I actually wanted to come here, and it didn't work out.
To ETSU?
Yeah.
So how did that get started? Like the connection? I know I had a friend who used to coach tennis, and he had a huge South American connection. And so you get this
you
Great
just
Britain
get
connection.
It's my friend told me to go to Augusta.
I gotcha. Right.
So it's like,
hey, I've been to Johnson City. It's awesome.
You
You're
don't
like where's
you
that on
don't
the
trust
map?
anyone, basically.
Oh, I gotcha.
Like, oh, you got this American salesman coach trying
Right.
to tell me to come to Alabama.
Right.
Like, you're going to talk to your friends, and they're going to say, hey, come here. And that's basically what happens. Like, it's happening to me right now with some of my guys. But so like Reese Davis came, who was world #1 back in the day.
Yeah.
And then he goes back, and everyone sees his bag. Everyone sees he's playing there, and then everyone's like, I want to go there.
Yeah.
Play with him, be that guy. And it just kind of snowballs. And he goes up and down. Like, you still got to recruit him and get lucky with the right kid. But yeah, that's kind of I think that's how it happened. And then Fred moved more to like Eastern Europe and got Adrian Moronk, who's killing it right now. Top 50 in the world, won the Irish Open.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So then when I came in, I had to put my own identity on recruiting.
Sure.
But yeah.
Still feel like you're in the shadow a little bit?
No. Fred's done. He's been like, when he decided to quit, he quit.
Yeah.
Like,
he knew that I'm turning over the reins, and if I'm around, you're not the coach.
Not many people love ETSU golf more than him, and he knows the worst thing he could have done to me was be around.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Just he let me go.
I think that's a true sign of a leader.
Yeah. No, I mean, I appreciated it a lot because we're different people. I'm a bit more relaxed than him probably, and he's a bit more disciplined and down the line. And I'm not. I'm like that sometimes, but I needed to make my own culture, and I think he knew that.
Is he still local? I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen him either.
Yeah, I need to reach out to him. Okay, so tell me about the season coming up. You guys are already starting to play, or are you getting ready to?
We leave today, actually.
Where are we going?
We're going to Scottsdale.
Got room on the bus?
No, actually.
Dang it.
No. Milligan, mate.
Milligan. Do you have to drive out to Scottsdale?
Absolutely not.
Good.
We are driving to Charlotte today, though, to fly out there.
Okay.
We've had some nightmare travel days coming out of Tri-Cities with delays and missing connections. And when you've got a big group with loads of bags, it's a nightmare. So
yeah. So if anybody's listening who has like a G6 just laying around, just donate it to the golf team.
That would be lovely.
That would be nice.
Yeah. There's a few golf teams that do that.
Yeah.
Annoying.
Purdue probably has their own plane.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
A lot of the SEC schools do. But I also don't like the precedent in its sense. It's a nice treat. But we're blue collar,
right. We're kind of down to earth folks.
Yeah,
we're not like bougie.
We don't mind.
No.
So
you guys could walk it if they had to.
They would. Yeah. They just want to beat people. Honestly,
that's great.
Some kind of nasty dudes, but yeah. We start today. The field. It's the Maui Gym Intercollegiate. It's a really. It's probably one of the best fields in the country. And that's one thing I tell my guys a lot. I'm like, my first year here, we were ranked, before COVID hit, we were ranked 21 when the season ended. And then the year after, we had a really good year. We won conference, won regionals, and then made national championship. And everything's just been getting better the year after.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I tell my guys, like, all this stuff, all this nice stuff FootJoy gives us, and all this great schedule we have, and all this nice things Ping give us, is nothing to do with you.
Right.
It's the last year's team.
Right.
Like they're the ones who got you invited to this tournament.
Yeah.
You want to keep coming, you got to
represent.
You got to do it again for next year's team. And that's kind of how I kind of try and tell the guys, because it's very easy to think, oh yeah, I deserve this. I'm great. I'm a freshman.
Right.
And I get all this stuff, give it to me. And no, you haven't earned anything. The team before you gave you this opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, we have a great history of golf at ETSU, and, it's down to all these other players.
Yeah.
Everything we have, our nice facility and all the donors we have and nice support, it's all down to players in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Looking
sometimes-
towards the future,
Yeah.
obviously, but yeah,
and they want to keep it going.
Oh, yeah.
and that's why they
100%.
support it. But I think it's important for these kids on the team now to realize that, like, it's not about them really. It's about what everyone else has given them,
Yeah.
and they've got to do it for the next people. And that's why I love college sports, because alumni giving back and things like that. It's a huge part of it.
Yeah. So what do you tell the guys? All right, we're getting ready to tee it up. It's the first tournament. We're gonna, there's a big team. You could win this thing, right?
Yeah.
What is it? How do you prepare them, like, mentally? What do you tell them?
Well,
guys?
we got some really,
Obviously they know how to hit a golf ball.
Yeah, I mean, we got some really good players right now. It's probably the
And
best.
for our listeners, like, what's a really good player? Like, par's 72 most places. What on average? What's one of your really good players shooting?
It's hard to say here, because let's say, for instance, we play Blackthorn and Virginian mainly.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. We're playing as far back as it gets.
Yep.
Every time.
Uh-huh.
Any weather. If you're for 3 rounds, if you're not shooting 11 to 16 under, you're not winning.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's strong.
So
did you make them play yesterday in the rain? I saw them on the tee sheet.
they played yesterday.
yeah.
No, just 9 holes.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so it's really hard to say. Like, when we go to Johnson City Country Club, we have guys shoot 61, 62.
They just light it up.
I mean, they hit it so far now. I mean, you can't even, unless you're watching it, you can't realize it. Like,
you can't even see it as far as they hit it. Like, it's crazy.
And we've got 2 guys. We got Archie Davies. He's probably our best player. He was an All-American last year. He's going to play in the Walker Cup. He's top 50 in the world.
Oh wow.
And Matt Seggy, he's around 100 in the world. Archie just finished 9th in the world amateur last week. Matt's finished, I think, 20th or something like that. So, I don't really have to tell them a lot.
Right.
When you get a really good culture, the less is more.
Right.
Like, I don't, my seniors and upperclassmen are my enforcers. They know what I like. So really, when you get started, like in 2019, I had to set the tone, what I expect. And there's a lot of communication, a lot of talking. Okay, this is what I want. But then eventually those guys, those freshmen, they've set the tone, and now they just do it for me. And I just sit back and try and decide who's playing, basically. But I don't need to motivate them. Like, we've been in the national championship the last 2 years. We've played a really good schedule last couple of years as well, against some big teams, won a lot. So, like, they expect to win. So they know that's like minimum expectation. So I don't really tell them anything.
Gotcha.
I more just try and create a us against them deal. Tennessee, they get all this stuff. It's all nice, I'll cuss, but we
But they're like, get out there, boys, and get busy.
They don't need. If anything, I'll probably get them too hyped up sometimes, but yeah,
it's working.
Yeah, it's working. Like I said, we got some great guys, and I expect us to go out and play well. The preseason ranking came out. We got ranked 2 different rankings. We were 25 and 27, which I actually think that's a little bit.
Oh.
We should have been around 16 to 18 probably.
Gotcha.
But
so that got you fired up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, these Golf Channel and Golf Week people, they just can't stop looking at Power 5. Right. Basically. We're the best ranked mid-major team in the country right now.
Yeah.
But they still don't recognize our guys
until you start whipping up on them.
Yeah. And yeah, I send it in the group text, and I don't even say anything, and they just
start talking about it.
I can't repeat what my guys say, but they get them going.
Oh, I love it. That's fun. What do you and Danny love to do in Johnson City? What's something fun you guys like to do here? And we're going to jump out of that.
We're big foodies. I mean, I am anyway.
Yeah.
I love food.
I do too. So good.
And it's getting better here.
It really is.
Yeah. When we first got here, there wasn't much.
But coming from England, right? I mean, like, it's all way better. I mean,
English food's pretty terrible.
It's not the best.
Well, I say that.
There's a few things.
You've got to know where you're going.
True.
Like, if
fish and chips at a pub are fantastic.
If you know where you're going in England, you can find good food.
Okay.
But the problem is, you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
Like here, if you're a tourist, you can go to, I don't know, Outback and
Right.
get a steak that's the same in any town, but you can't do that back home.
No.
It's all individual. There's not really any chain. The only chain's fast food, really.
We should open Outbacks in the UK.
Oh, you should open Chick-fil-A.
Oh, we would kill it.
They'd kill it. Five Guys opened back home and it's killing it. But we're big foodies and we love the outdoors too. So we like going for walks. And
how old are your boys now?
They just turned 6 and 3 on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Same birthday.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So we had a party out at Willow Springs Park and just hung out.
Yeah, we've got a lot of great parks.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
They like the zoo too. Actually.
What's your favorite place to eat? You and Danny go on a date?
That is a great
or
question.
top 3 we could do for our listeners.
I love Cafe 111.
Are you a sushi guy?
A big sushi guy. Yeah. I literally eat sushi every time on the road.
Yeah, it's delicious.
And
healthy, I think.
I had to play it. Shiso Go, Japanese player, and I miss him because we used to like gang up on the team when we're on the road. Like, we'll go and eat sushi. And like, because a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
But we're like, we're doing it. If you want to play on this team, you gotta like it. So
gotta eat sushi.
I love that. I really like the new restaurant here. One is it?
One Shao?
Yeah, that was pretty nice too. My team loves Label.
Yep. Same group.
Yeah.
Stir fry group.
I like
Raphael.
I like Gourmet too.
Yeah. Hard to beat.
It's hard to beat that. I used to take the team there. It got a little expensive.
Yeah. Donors were like, really?
Yeah, you spend $1,000 on dinner.
I did win the Southern Conference Championship.
But I know I'm missing one, but I do. You know what I like? At my lunch spot, I love Shamrock.
Yes.
Like, I feel like that is
pimento cheese. Do you get their pimento cheese sandwich?
I get the Reuben literally every time.
Really? Okay.
But I always think people forget about it.
It is like on the back burner.
Yeah.
So the Shamrock, for listeners, is like this unbelievable tobacco cigar store, but they also sell food and unbelievable milkshakes.
Yes.
So I'll go. They also make keys. So I'm always getting keys made. And so anytime I need a key made,
I did not know that.
I go there. They got the old machine that actually works, so that when you get there and you put the key in the lock, it works, because the new ones are kind of goofy. And it's fantastic. So I'll go get a key and I'll get a milkshake. But I haven't eaten lunch there much. I've gotten their pimento cheese sandwich.
I always forget about it. And I went there the other day, and they have a little secret thing downstairs where you can sit. And
kind of in the back. Yeah.
I'm sure it's like 5. I mean, I walk down there, there's like 6 old boys in there that look like they've been there all morning.
The rumor is that's where they used to run the city. Like all the guys would get together back there.
Honestly, I could see that.
And that's probably why the Sunshine Law is in effect now, because they used to make deals back there and say, now you got to meet in public. But
yeah, I feel like it's a really underappreciated place.
Jack Cox is a great guy. He's been running that thing forever. Yeah.
I mean, I bought a t-shirt there. I love it so much.
Oh, it's fantastic. I just love the smell of it. So when you come to town, check out the Shamrock. Okay. Anything that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with us?
No, not. I mean, it's easy to talk about my team a lot because I'm in season. That's all I'm thinking about. But just as a place, I think I became an American citizen this summer.
Oh, congratulations! Yeah. That's awesome.
And sometimes I think people don't realize how great America is. Honestly.
I think we take it for granted.
Because I've traveled a lot. I've lived in England, and England's a great place too.
It's beautiful, but it's not America.
This place, people just have no idea how good they have it. And I just get so tired of people complaining and bitching, and
whining.
I'm like, just get off social media.
Oh gosh.
And go live and enjoy the town.
Yeah.
Like, you've got, within an hour of here, you've got so much you can do.
Oh, yeah.
And I struggle with it. My job is social media, a lot of it.
Yeah.
And
so you're having to see it.
I'm having to do it.
Respond to comments and different stuff.
But I just want to say, like, go out and, like, we have a rule on my team. My wife wishes I had it at home, but I make all my guys put the phone in the middle and stack it up. And it's amazing what they talk about.
Yeah.
because if I didn't do it, everyone would just be on their phones.
Right.
But I just think this place is so incredible. Like the golf courses here, I love golf. The Old Farm, Virginian, Diamond Creek, Grandfather, all within an hour. We've got incredible golf courses. You got millions of hikes. The best thing about Johnson City is I've been here 4 years and I'm still finding out new stuff to do.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. And people tell us. Like I went on a salamander hunt a couple of weeks ago up at Buffalo Mountain.
Yeah.
And there was like 20 people there.
And there are bunches of salamanders.
Yeah.
I used to catch them all the time as a kid. I
was like,
it.
this is my kids are doing it, and I just love it. But
yeah,
that's I just want to say that, like,
And I think too, I get it. I think we do take it for granted, America. And I feel like on a lot of the social media, they're using it to divide us for some reason. And, we turn the narrative very negatively, And I was just thinking back because September 11th is coming up, and it helped change the course of my life to get into real estate. But surrounding that time, which was awful, for the country, we actually came together, and it helped. As sad as it was for sure, like just heartbreaking as I tear up, but it brought us together as a country, and I miss that feel, we the pride we had as Americans. And I think the narrative's changing to just get us off track for some reason. And I don't understand it or like it. And
there's no neutral ground.
No.
Like you can't have conversations about it. And even in the team environment, we don't allow talk about it, politics or anything like that, because, it always divides people,
right?
Typically, especially right now. But you can't really have any good communication about really tough issues because everyone's so like offended if you don't think the way they think. So to me, my wife hates it because she likes to try and talk to me about it. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I'd much rather let's just go on a walk and talk about something else.
Yeah.
And get out. And
your day's going to be better, right?
Yeah,
and you're not solving the problem by just,
I mean, ignorance is bliss sometimes, but I think if people just like chilled out about it and like nothing major's happening right now, we just got to go out and enjoy where we live. And I'm trying to be better at that because I just think we need to disconnect from all those big stuff. But yeah,
I agree.
I love America. I love Johnson City.
Well, we love that you love it and you're here and the team's doing well and that the future's bright for ETSU golf.
That helps. Like if the team was doing bad, I'd probably hate
it. Johnson City's the worst. I'm moving back to Irwin where I came from. Yeah.
I love Irwin, by the way.
I love it too. It is Apple Festival, I think. Has that already happened? Oh, that already happened. Yeah. Anyway. Well, thank you so much. Good luck in Scottsdale. And thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, no worries.
And then, how can our listeners connect with you? You're on Twitter, you said.
Yeah, team has Twitter and Instagram mainly.
Okay. Is that the best way to get you?
That's the best way, yeah. And same with me. I'm on there too, but I don't really post anything but my kids.
Yeah.
If you want to follow me, you can.
See us cute boys running around. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I enjoyed our conversation. I hope our listeners have as well. To all our listeners, thank you guys for listening and joining the conversation. And again, I'm Colin Johnson with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Realty. If you want to make a move to Johnson City, call me. If you want to invest, if you want to rent your property out, we do all of that stuff, everything real estate related. So thanks again for listening. Have a great day.